AEW is starting to have a big problem take over their television show, and I'm starting to get a little concerned because right now there is a perfect opportunity to kind of fix it before it even gets bigger. Also, Kenny Omega has vacated the AAA World Championship, and we know a former WWE superstar is backstage at Impact. There are plans for more people to sign with Impact, so we're going to talk about that all in today's video. Don't forget, guys, my name is Zango, and on this channel, I bring you the latest news and rumors and bring you my opinions on them. And on top of that, we have a new morning wrestling talk show Monday through Friday, live 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about some of the greatest, interesting, most crazy topics in pro wrestling. All right, guys, so Kenny Omega has officially vacated the World Championship in AAA, and of course, a lot of people are talking. This is the one championship that Kenny Omega has lost, but he didn't actually lose the belt, so people don't know if there is going to be some continuity within a storyline here. But as of right now, AAA did confirm that Kenny Omega is vacating the belt. Now, Kenny Omega lost the Impact Championship to Christian, and he lost the World Championship to Hangman Page, but he didn't lose the AAA World title. And obviously, AAA's World title, it's a big deal for AAA because there's a lot of history within AAA. And obviously, this open door policy with AEW and multiple companies, it's actually benefited AAA very significantly, especially with Kenny Omega holding that belt and then bringing that belt to America, showing it on TV, showing it on Impact Wrestling and AEW television. So the good news here is that there are actual big plans for AAA here. With Kenny Omega being injured, Kenny Omega taking time away, AAA is looking at using this as an opportunity to create new stars. There's also talks of AAA possibly signing former WWE superstars. We talked a little bit about this before. Killer Cross, Karrion Kross, Scarlett Bordeaux are expected to go back to AAA as well, which is awesome. I think them going to AAA could be massive. And I would really like to see AAA do something where maybe even Killer Cross can take over the belt. I think that could be a really cool thing. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of time, though, because of the 90-day non-compete clause. So the one thing we don't want to see is AAA do some sort of transitional championship thing here. But as more people are starting to become aware of AAA as a whole, I think it's really, really important for people to just kind of pay attention and see what happens, because whatever happens here, we could very well see on AEW in a couple months from now. By the way, you have a guy like Killer Cross, maybe in February or so he debuts or he returns to AAA, wins the belt, and next thing you know, Kenny Omega, at some point when he's injury-free, he's ready to go, he can use this as an opportunity to build up that match and say, hey, look, man, I never actually lost the belt. I want to fight. I want to go back for my title. And then you could build a storyline there, and I think that could be really cool. All right, guys, another story. Summer Rae, former WWE superstar, backstage at Impact Wrestling. And you might be thinking, oh, Ango, she's not a big name. Why does this matter? It's not about the biggest names, guys. It's about what you do with the names that you sign. Now, we don't know for sure if Impact Wrestling has made an offer or anything like that. We do know PW Insider did report that she was backstage, which is great news. But one thing I think a lot of people often get lost in is the fact that maybe pro wrestlers aren't the biggest names, but they sign somewhere. And I always like to look at Impact Wrestling as a great example of where they take people who were underutilized and make them something special. We saw this in the past with Derek Bateman, who then became EC3 in Impact Wrestling. So much so that WWE decided to bring him in to keep him away from everywhere else, and then WWE did absolutely nothing with him. But then you see Impact Wrestling do something very special with the Hardy Boys, right? They became Woken, and they've done crazy storytelling with that. And then you transition a couple years later, and you see what Impact Wrestling has done with somebody like Matt Cardona, Brian Myers, right? Kurt Hawkins. Or how about the latest example, Steve Maclin, somebody who is doing incredible work, and you probably don't even know who Steve Maclin is, but he was part of WWE's Forgotten Sons. So just to kind of give you some perspective there, Impact does a really good job of taking talent who aren't utilized correctly and make them meaningful and make them important. Summer Rae going to Impact Wrestling could be huge because there were rumors at one point that Fandango could actually sign to Impact Wrestling. Could there be a reunion? That is something I'm very curious about. All right, guys. Now, by now, you've probably heard about all the injuries that have happened in AEW, and it's not the first time that we've talked about injuries in AEW, but now it's becoming a problem. We don't know exactly how long the Young Bucks will even be out for. We don't even know if they're going to be out, but we know that they are hurt. We know that there's a neck injury and a leg injury, I believe, or maybe like a foot injury. Obviously, we know that there is issues with Kenny Omega being injured. hence why we talked about him vacating the belt and now taking time away. There are other individuals in AEW who are also hurt. And I think a lot of this has to do with the style that AEW presents itself. And look, I love everything about Dante Martin. He is an incredible talent. But you see some of these moves that guys are doing on a week-to-week basis. And I understand that AEW does have a lighter schedule than WWE, but this is an injury problem that is becoming relevant in today's television product because with too many injuries, you are shortening the entire duration of somebody's career. But also on top of that, you might have to start pulling away from TV, and that's going to become an issue. Kenny Omega, he's got to rest. He's got to get better. He's got to come back. And these guys are getting older. And these guys who are wrestling with nagging injuries, guys who are getting hurt on the job, I understand that AEW is a great company, but there is an injury problem. It's something that we've seen for a while. Obviously, we saw Dante Martin's tag partner, Darius Martin. He's obviously, the reason why Dante Martin even got a singles push was because of the injury. Injuries are an issue with AEW, and obviously you can't control freak accidents and things like that, but we have seen time and time again concussions or injuries that have happened throughout time in AEW, and I think a lot of it has to do with AEW style. And I'm not saying, look, AEW could dial it down, and I don't think it's going to hurt the product at all whatsoever, but I do think it needs to be addressed in a way that is positive and in a way that allows people to continue working in a great way without being at risk every single time. Because here's the problem, this injury problem that's happening in AEW, we don't know what the future plans were for AAA and Kenny Omega, right? Kenny Omega could have brought the belt and we could have had some dream matches for all we know. But now we're not going to get that because he's hurt and he's gone. The Young Bucks, obviously, we don't know how long they're going to be without TV. They might even be on TV. They might even wrestle. But the thing is, when there's injuries, and you got guys wrestling while they're hurt, now there's even a bigger risk. And I think that is one of the biggest problems that pro wrestling in general has. And I think it's one of the biggest problems that AEW has. Their in-ring ability is incredible. Everybody in that show could absolutely dominate a 30, 45, 60-minute match. Then you got guys like Bryan Danielson that I think we really need to talk about that because Bryan Danielson is obviously at risk for severe injuries. He's missed several years. Then you got Christian, who missed several years due to injury. You got to work safe. And I know these guys obviously don't intentionally hurt each other, but accidents will happen. Accidents have happened. Guys are getting hurt, and we don't really want that to happen. So hopefully AEW could figure out a way to fix this without necessarily hurting the product. I don't think they're going to hurt the product, but obviously it is important that you guys know that there are some injury problems with AEW, and they do got to be solved soon. So just kind of keep that in mind. And yeah. All right, guys, if you are new to the channel, we have launched Ango in the Morning, Monday through Friday, live, 10 a.m. Eastern. If you guys missed episode 1 and 2, they're going to be up on the screen here, and I definitely recommend you guys check it out because it is a really fun show. We do live call-ins, all that cool stuff. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.